Right, about these big games in Macau. Like, your dad plays in these games? And like, yeah, like, holy shit. Fucking hell, that's so insane.
Before we learn how to crawl, we run already.
Running already.
It's 2.5.
It's okay as long as you can afford it. This is the thing.
This game I play 5k, 10k.
In the beginning, right, straight away, 5K.
What was it? HKD? 5K, 10K? 1 million bind?
Yeah, just for fun to start playing, you know, small stakes.
I think that play the first day with Tang and another guy.
Ooh, a little action here. Linus with top pair. Greenwood with top pair as well. Greenwood with the better kicker. Pot is 29,500.
Get my money. First day I broke even.
Pretty good if you just started learning.
I get some guy, they get more and more VIP, 20, 30.
Wow. High stakes. All playing high stakes.
And depending on the run out,
I think like a lot of these games that you play will be like the
This is,
greatest stories that the world has never
a
heard
hand you
before,
expect to get 2 streets of value from, and possibly even 3.
You should tell some of them for a site.
Tell the story.
Yeah.
A bet of 10,000, a call.
Maybe
Pot
not-
is now just under 50,000. A great turn card if you're Greenwood.
appropriate ones, yeah.
If the 7 were to pair,
Then this
you might see these players slow down a little bit, but
Got shot and someone shot call 3x.
yeah.
I think the 3, though, makes it a little bit more likely. And this is an interesting play by Linus.
the river.
Out of the blind, he
Then the
check
two
calls the
brothers,
flop, and now
you're in
decides to
danger,
lead turn.
40,000?
Greenwood raising.
Luke Greenwood's raises often sound like questions. 40?
My brothers, like, only one of them. Only one of them came. Okay.
It's like when you go to a restaurant and you ask for a meal from the
You're in
chef,
danger.
from the
You're in danger.
waiter, and you're not sure if it's any good or not. Chicken cacciatore?
Pork chops? Close things down for the day will be the last re-entry level, and then maybe let people in at the start.
This is such an
Okay,
interesting
tomorrow.
hand.
Tell me why it's an interesting hand, Dave Tuckman.
Well, I mean, when you watch just, normal people play poker, this is just going to be a check call,
Yeah.
and then a lot of times it even goes check on the river because the guy is terrified of betting 3 streets with just ace-10. Instead here, I mean, Linus takes kind of an out-of-the-box line by check call leading, and then Greenwood, rather than calling, recognizes that he likely has the best hand. His opponent probably doesn't have too many 3s in his range. He raises for value. Linus can't go anywhere with 2 hearts out there.
So I think that I figured out what the trick is here, if you want to run with these dogs. Take whatever your hand is and bump it up 1 hand ranking. So if you get a pair, act like you have 2 pair.
And look at that.
Loeliger with a thin call. Thin value raise on the flop from Luke Greenwood. Thin value bets later on. Loeliger out.
Someone like me needs rehab, but he doesn't need rehab, but he's in rehab. It's like,
Table talk has turned to rehab. Gamblers Anonymous, perhaps?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Danny Tang with a couple of 8s under the gun. Makes it 90 to go, and 2 10s for Aaron Zhang. He's got those 8s in a bad way.
Well, he likes to just call from under the gun +1.
I'd imagine there are occasions on which Zhang would choose to 3-bet for balance.
Wow.
Ace-queen into the muck.
That is incredible. Notice that's likely based on the position the raises came from, an under the gun raise and a flat. He decided to fold ace-queen. That's really surprising, I gotta say.
squeeze now for someone.
Perkins on the button with the 2 6s will go set mining with the 3rd worst pair pre-flop. Another ace-queen out of the big blind for Tony G. A very different proposition, of course.
I call.
Well, he's just going to call. That could have been a squeeze opportunity for Tony G to just rip it in there and pick up what's there. Elects to see a flop first.
Uh-oh.
Wow, this is not supposed to happen as often as we've seen so far in this event. The cooler of all coolers, top set against middle set. Danny Tang is in big trouble.
And he is slow playing this thing. No continuation bet.
Aaron, it's a draw-heavy board. There's straights and flushes, so Aaron can represent a lot of hands here that don't have to be as strong as 3 10s. Betting here to build the pot. Will Danny Tang spring the trap? He's trapping now. It's important to note that. He might have the worst hand, but he doesn't know that, and he thinks he's setting up Aaron Zhang for a big check raise on the turn.
Flat call, now an ace.
That's an interesting card. Danny's going to check. Now for Zhang, he's going to think about the situation where he may be up against some sort of combo draw and want to really push the envelope. He's got all the 10s, so it's unlikely Danny Tang has a 10. May have an ace, and if he does, the trap has been sprung. If he knew he had 3 8s, we just get it all in and move on to the next hand.
But how much can he extract from an ace, which certainly is the type of holding that Danny could have here, having raised pre and then check called on the flop.
Certainly could have a hand even like ace jack, ace queen of spades.
720 in there. And he comes with 290.
Okay, he gives him a decent price. Danny Tang now, this would be a good spot to go ahead and raise, and he does. He's moving all in as expected. Quick call.
Rip City and a snap call. Disaster written all over Danny's face.
Just incredible here for Danny Tang to flop middle set and be behind the 3 10s of Aaron Zhang.
Both players fill up on the end.
They'll make it 20K to go.
Little 2.5x.
Soya, after doubling up Quilkin, now looks at an ace-9 out of the small blind.
About over 50 big blinds effective here. He's got to decide how he wants to play it. Opts for call. Here's our ace-queen. Hand much too good to fold here. Again, call or 3-bet. Should he 3-bet though, which he'd have to make it like 80 or so, I'm pretty sure Paul just jams. Now he realizes his equity by calling. Given the fact that he just open jammed the ace-queen off for 22 blinds, I'm not surprised that he took this particular line with the queen-jack suited, the more conservative one.
Now a troublesome board here for Soya, as the ace-10-10 leaves him with aces up, but outkicked by Paul. As Phua has both blinds checked to him, 68K in the middle. And he's going to check back here, Rast. Has a lot of hand, but obviously some vulnerability against a 10x.
Yeah, it's a spot where Paul's not going to be able to get 3 streets of value, at most 2, so decides to start the pot off by checking back flop. And I think we're going to see all the players interested now because Queen Jack just turned into a double gutter, so he very likely continues here, getting almost 4 to 1 from the pot. And I can't see Paul folding as well. Wow, he passes. Pretty tight fold, I think.
Yeah, I too am a little bit surprised. Feels like the kind of spot where you hit the king or the 9 and you do get paid there, but maybe the presence of the hard draw was dissuasive. As now...
I mean, my read on our newcomer is that he's pretty conservative. Data points, the jam.
The ace-queen jam is conservative?
Because, yeah, in the sense of like, I kind of think just jamming 22 blinds with anything really from the cutoff is a bit abnormal. It's a lot of blinds. Now not 3-betting the queen jack suited, folding the turn.
Well, Paul taking a slightly conservative line by flatting Soya.
It's going to be a rough spot. This will show the nice advantages of being in position, because Paul will certainly not fold if Soya bets, and if Soya checks, Paul now has the option to value bet his hand and very likely will. So Soya probably chooses a bet that wow, he goes pretty big, actually.
Yeah, 75K into 114. Paul muttering that he feels like he's beat, but I don't know that as played he's going to be able to fold ace-king here.
Oh, no, I think he's going to call. And Soya is actually value betting.
Ace 9. Oh, very bet myself.
Well, he was, but as it turns out, and you heard him say it, he was value betting himself. So
Garagnani's got pocket tens against kings. People are flying potentially, unless he can hit one.
another blind versus blind situation. Vezhnikov trapping him by limping these two kings.
It's a tiny raise. Just going to call here.
Oh, man, this is a path to an escape for Garagnani, perhaps, if the board texture.
Oh, you cannot do set over set with 10 big blind stacks, can you?
Good game, sir. Pedro Garagnani, middle set on a king-high flop where he's up against top set. So improbable. It is curtains for the Brazilian.
Just smashed it. Just put as little as you can. Stack to pot ratio is so small. 75k. Given how hard he smashed it, I think you're gonna see a check call a lot. Top set. Oh. Dicey.
Third club comes off as somehow the chips haven't gotten all in pre or post. Vezhnikov still slow playing, and now these two tens kind of need to protect themselves, Randy.
Yeah. He just thinks his opponent's gotta be pretty weak. Although he's just actually sitting there with a set of kings. Gotta call. This guy's just the master trapper. There is cards out there that could save Garagnani. Mini cards, actually.
A club comes to mind, but that card is way too dry. The red 3, and don't tell me, Vezhnikov is going to check one more time.
I don't see a world where he ever checks this.
Weirdest feeling ever.
Oh my god, he checked a set of
He
tens.
just said he has the weirdest feeling ever, and I don't think anyone at this table can believe their eyes. Somehow, Pedro Garagnani avoids elimination.
He's on coin poker.
Shanghai Wang opens to 80,000 with King Jack suited and a King Queen suited for Katz.
Well, Katz finding himself in familiar territory, sitting on about 15, 16 blinds. He's known for being that guy that just kind of hangs around on a short stack and gets the most out of it. So just flatting here in a spot where some players may have elected to just go all in with King Queen suited.
And that, of course, allows the ace-8 suited of Chidwick to come along, and the flop is King 9-6, so a good spot here for Katz.
Yeah, no question about it. Top pair Queen kicker against Shanghai, who's got King Jack, and he's going to like that flop as well.
185k C-bet.
Well, now you look at Kerry's got 555. Not a whole lot of reason to just call. You might as well just stick it in.
Which he does.
Hope to get called by worse. You'd imagine Shanghai's committed here with top pair, and he's going to make the call, so good spot for Kerry.
3 of clubs on the turn, a safe one. Just needs to fade one of 3 jacks in the deck to double, which he does.
Hanging around, hanging around. Kid's got alligator blood. He really does. I've seen him come back and win tournaments with 3 big blinds too many times.
Will this be one of them?
Always sucks when the first time you have to do it is with aces or kings. And everybody just turbo folds.
Okay.
Then for the people asking about Rakimov, he was our 3rd place finisher. He lost ace-king versus ace-jack in a very dramatic showdown against Jason Koon. And both players have trips here. This could be trouble. They're pretty likely to chop the hand. As you can see, 67%. But both players also have about 18% to win. And that locks it up for Jason Koon.
Okay.
Man's got a boat.
2 million.
$2 million bets. Over bet here by Jason Koon. Crazy spot here for Paul Phua. He has to be really happy. It's very unlucky for him. They were gonna tie this 70% of the time. He's gonna make the call. It's a big fat stack of hundreds. Can only win, tie with the queen now. There's the ace. That locks it up for Jason Koon. Crazy thing is, that kind of turns Paul Phua's hand into a bluff catcher. It's not a whole lot that Jason will bet for value that would overbet the turn. Think about ace queen. What if you had ace queen on this board? Somebody calls an overbet on the turn. I bet my money that Jason would check ace queen behind if his overbet gets called on the turn. Jason's gonna fire 6 million at it, so he overbets again. Yeah, Paul in some really disgusting river spots, gotta say. And of course, Jason is the guy that puts him in those spots, let's be honest here. But these are tough hands. Made a really good decision with the kings, but he has trips.
Well, looks like either full house or bluff. 2 to 1.
Paul is Paul's been really impressing me this series.
Something speed. Jack 7. Jack 8. 10 7. 10.
You're up against Jason Koon. Like, if you see the hands face up.
Not full.
Wow. You see Jason make so many sick bluffs. Also at these final tables. We've seen him pull the trigger in short deck so many times.
Call. Full house.
Yeah, that's a very rough hand for Paul. Rough hand.
Yeah.
Maximum value there, but Jason Koon.
6. That's fair.
He overbet the turn with a full house and he overbets the river.